Hey guys, welcome back. In the last lecture, we learned how to set default values for an active record attribute. Okay, and we use the before create callback to set the default value. Okay, now in this lecture, we will look at another option, and that is more better option to set the default value for an attribute. That is using the attribute method, but this method is only used after Rails 5 or with Rails 5. Okay, so you cannot use that method inside the Rails 4, 3, and other lower versions. Okay, so here you can see what we did with the before create, that we just added before create set user role, and then we defined the set user role method, and here we use the self dot role equal to admin. Okay, now with the attribute method, we do not need to register the callback and create an additional method for it. We can simply do this with one line, that is attribute method name. Okay, so attribute and then provide the attribute name. So this will be the first argument, that is role. Okay, and the next argument will be the type of this attribute, that is string. Okay, and the next argument will be the default. Okay, so default, and what default value you want to provide it. So here we can use admin. Okay, so here you can see that attribute role. Okay, so just look at this. Attribute is the method name, role will be the first argument, or the attribute name will be the first argument, and then type of the attribute will be the second argument, and default will be the third argument. Okay, and if you do not provide the default argument to this, it will again set the nil value for it. Okay, but we want to set the default value for the role attribute, so we need to provide default as some value, so we provided the admin. Okay, now you can take it like this. So just switch to the Rails terminal. Okay, and here open the Rails console, and in the Rails console we will first initialize the user, and then we will check for the role value. Okay, that what it is taking. So just switch to the terminal again, and here switch to the terminal again, and here you what you need to do, user dot new dot role. Okay, and when you see that you initialized a user and you set the role, and that is admin. Okay, so now we set a default value for the user role attribute. Okay, now it's time to check this with the postman. So switch to the postman again, and register a new user. So let's do this. Let's say user example2 at the example.com. Okay, and then send the request, and once you send the request, you can see that a new user has been signed up successfully, and its role is admin, and you can verify it on the terminal as well. You can see that a new user has been inserted into the database with role value admin. Okay, and similarly you can verify this on member details page as well. So click on the send link, and here you can see role is admin. So what is the difference between both the ways? That with attribute you can do the same thing with one line. Okay, and you just need to define the attribute and then argument to this attribute method, that will be the attribute name, its type, and the default value you want to set. Okay, and you can save the time for registering the callback and then implementing the method to set the default value. But this method is only applicable or only good if you do not have to put extra logic while setting the default value. For example, sometimes you have to do some calculations, or you have to do some logical operations before setting the default value. Then that in that case, setting the default value using before create callback will be fine. Okay, but just uh, if you just want to set the value like this in the simplest way, then you can use the attribute value, and make sure you use this after or with Rails 5 only. Okay, so you can use this with Rails 5.x, 6.x, and 7.x, but you cannot use that in Rails 4 and 3. Okay, and there are other ways to do the same thing as well for setting the default value, like after initialize callback, before initialize callback, and all that. So you could do that using those callback as well. Okay, so that's all about this lecture. So we have now two ways to set the default values. First, we can use the before create callback. Okay, and then we can use the attribute method to set the default value as well. Okay, so whatever suits better to you, and depending upon your Rails version, you can choose any of the way, and you can try at your end the initialize callbacks as well. Okay, so all are used for the same purpose. Okay, so that's all about this. Okay, and we will meet into the next lecture with our can abilities again. So thanks for watching this, and let's meet into that lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.